Hello everyone. We are here to do a book haul. My name is Elise. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. And I was not expecting to do another book haul this soon after my last one. It's been a few months, so it's not like crazy soon after. But over the past couple of years, if you've been around on this channel, I've been trying to reduce the books that I buy to equal the amount that I'm reading off of my physical TBR. And this year I've started off a little bit strong. I've bought a good amount of books, but I do tend to buy more books in the first half of the year than I do in the second half of the year for a couple different reasons, but we can get into that at another time. So we're talking about the books that I bought at the end of March. So my first book haul of the year was the start of the year through the majority of March. And there's two books from the end of March here, books from April, books from May. So that is what we are dealing with here today. So we're gonna go over them in the order that I bought them. If I can remember correctly the order that I bought them in, I do track them by months. So let's go over the two books that I bought at the end of March that weren't in my previous book haul. The first one was a little bit of an impulse buy. I happened to go to Elliott Bay Books one night because I was in the area. Beta Vulgaris by Margie Sarsfield. This is published by Norton, and this is a horror novel, I believe, that incorporates farming in some way, hence the beats. So let's relive the blurb in real time with you both, because I honestly don't remember what this is really about because it was an impulse buy. It says a young woman's seasonal job working a sugar beet harvest takes a surreal turn in this surprising and vivid debut. Okay. Ooh, the main character has the same name as me, which is always strange in a book. It doesn't happen very often. So Elise and her boyfriend Tom set off for Minnesota, hoping the paycheck from the sugar beet harvest will cover the rent on their Brooklyn apartment. Amidst the grueling work and familiar anxieties about her finances, Elise starts noticing strange things: threatening phone calls, a mysterious rash, and snatches of an ominous voice coming from the beet pile. Ooh. Okay, it says biting, eerie, and confidently told. All right, I'm intrigued. Sounds like it's gonna have some speculative, surrealist aspects to it. And the cover is great. That's definitely what drew me into reading the blurb. So that is Beta Vulgaris. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this second book in March might have been from Third Place Books. I think I was there with my friend Kat. This is The River People by Liz Kellebrew. And it's published by Unsolicited Press, which is a independent publisher down in Portland, Oregon, that I had not heard of before I saw this book. And that is why I picked it up, because anytime I see a press that I'm not familiar with and the book sounds interesting to me, I definitely want to try it out to see if that publisher might be a good fit for me. So I'm excited to try this one out. This also has the benefit of being a Pacific Northwest book. I think it heavily takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and we get a lot of nature writing, which I really love. We're in the 19th century in the westward expansion to the Pacific Northwest, and this says it's a haunting and lyrical exploration of that westward expansion, which definitely sounds intriguing to me. We're getting the intertwined journeys of Marilla, John, and Walter, so maybe 3 different POVs, all about their journeys westward. So it sounds intriguing. It's also very short, so really excited to check out a new Pacific Northwest publisher, a new Pacific Northwest author, because Liz Kellebrew does live in the Pacific Northwest, and yeah, can't wait. So that is The River People. I do like this kind of sparse red cover. I don't have a lot of red books. So those are the two books that I picked up in March. Then we get into Independent Bookstore Day. And I have a couple of clips that I can insert as well that my friends were taking, mostly of me, honestly, while we were shopping. So yeah, we have some fun clips. I got some ARCs at some of the places that we went to, because a lot of the booksellers around here will get rid of their ARCs that way, which you can't resell. So they'll give them away for free if you purchase books on specific holidays. This one, Independent Bookstore Day, which is the best book holiday ever. So yeah, picked up some books from there. So you're seeing some clips of me unveiling some of those and us shopping around. I picked up, I think, 7 books that I bought, question mark. I think I bought 7 books, and then I got a few for free. So let's start with the ones that I bought. So firstly, we have the new anthology of Best Literary Translations 2025 from Deep Vellum. They just started coming out with this anthology series last year. I have the one from last year, but I have not read it. I am about to start it soon, actually. So I needed to pick this one up as well. It is exactly what it sounds like. This particular one for 2025 is edited by Cristina Rivera Garza. Very well lauded. I'm also about to pick up a book by her very soon. So I'm really excited to see what this next anthology has in store, but I am going to be reading the 2024 one first. But very happy to have this in my collection, and I knew I'd be buying it anyway, so why not pick it up then? Then I got a poetry collection called A History of Birds by Caroline Harper New. This one is published by Milkweed, and I had never heard of this one. It was on a display table at one of the bookstores that we went to, and I'm always down to pick up some poetry. April is National Poetry Month, so I thought it was a perfect time to pick something up as well, and I knew I wanted to pick up at least one collection during that day. This one is also signed, which is lovely. Oh, that's right. So this one actually doesn't have a blurb for it, but on the front flap, because it has French flaps, which are gorgeous, it has a sample of one of the poems in the collection, and I read the sample and enjoyed it, so I thought the poetry collection might be for me. That is a great way to pick up poetry collections. That's often what I do when I'm in the bookstore, is I will flip into the book, read one of the poems, and see if I like it, in addition to checking out the themes on the back. This one, I liked that poem, so I'm intrigued. It also has blurbs, I'll look at this too, for poetry by Maggie Smith. I read Goldenrod a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it, so that's always a good sign if a poet that I have already enjoyed is blurbing a different poetry collection. So that is A History of Birds. This also has a very stunning cover. I really like it. Thirdly, we have a book I've been wanting for a very long time and finally pulled the trigger on. This is Lote by Shola van Reinhold. This one is published by Duke University Press. And over the years, I've heard a couple different people that I watch on BookTube talk about this book and say that they really enjoyed it, but I've always just put off picking it up, and I'm glad that I finally have it. The weight of this book is really satisfying. It's really weighty, it's really floppy. And this is a book about obsession, I believe, or at least like infatuation, not romantic, but sort of like want to steal your life type of infatuation. We're following Matilda, and she is really obsessed, I'm going to use for now, with the Bloomsbury group, the artist from the 20s and 30s. And in her infatuation with them and all the research that she does, she learns about a different artist, a forgotten Black modernist poet, Hermia Druitt, and she becomes increasingly fixated on this new artist, and I think it leads her to some pretty crazy places as she's trying to embody this new poet, because she wants to be her, right? She wants that life. So she starts going through the motions of like reliving and learning about experiences that she had, and I think it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try this one out. I don't think I'm gonna get to this one anytime soon, but I've wanted it for so long, and I'm really excited that I finally have it. So that is Lote. Then we have a book that was on my anticipated releases list for this year, The Colony by Annika Norlin. This one is translated from the Swedish by Alice E. Olsson, and I have read translations from her before, and it's published by Europa Editions. This was such a huge hit in Sweden, like a breakout success, and I'm very excited it got translated into English. I do have plans to read this for a specific video. If you think you know what that video is, you can put it in the comments down below. And this book, I think, is really about burnout in the modern century, and I think it's also tackling themes of, yes, community, love, and unfathomable power we have over others and that others have over us. And our main character has a very demanding job. She one day finds these people, this small group of people out in the woods who are kind of living in like a commune style community, and she gets involved and we go from there. So that is The Colony. It's also pretty thick, and I have been craving some thick books lately of really like diving and immersing myself in a story, so that might be a good fit. Then we have, let's see, are we into the ones I got? No, we're still in the ones that I bought. So we have 2 books by Eliza Clark that I bought on Independent Bookstore Day. We have the 2 that I have not read. Boy Parts, which was her debut, and then her most recent short story collection, She's Always Hungry. I loved Penance last year. It was one of my favorite reads. It's one of my all-time favorite reads, and I knew I had to pick up her other stuff. So I'm really excited to finally have both of them. Penance is in a hardcover copy, so they're not going to match, but I'm just going to live with it. So She's Always Hungry, like I said, is a new short story collection. She writes like horror adjacent related things, and I believe that's exactly what this is. And Boy Parts was her debut novel, which is about our protagonist who exploits young men by taking photographs of them that I think are humiliating in some degree or another. So yeah, really excited to have both of these, and I'm hoping to read both of them this year and really complete my time with Eliza Clark and everything she's already written. So happy to have both of these. Both of these are published by Harper Perennial. And then we have one more book that I bought that day, and then we'll go over the ones that I got for free, question mark, I think so. The next one that I picked up was Caesaria. This is by Hanna Nordenhok, translated by Saskia Vogel, who I have read a translation from before, and it's published by Book Hug Press. And this is from their literature and translation series. This is also a short little thing, and we're in the 19th century in Sweden. The story focuses in on a renowned obstetrician who is keeping a young girl named Caesaria as a trophy because she was the first baby he ever delivered via C-section. And I think it's really graphic from what I've heard, and it's from the perspective of Caesaria. And yeah, I think really dark, I think gothic in some ways. We're living in the doctor's manor at the time. So happy to have this. It's another one that I wanted to pick up for a little bit now, and I finally did so. So that is Caesaria. The 2 free books that I got on that day were, again, ARCs. One was like a blind ARC, so they were all wrapped, and this one only said fiction on it, so I grabbed it. I've never heard of it before, and it is Trust Me by Scott Nadelson. This one's by Forest Avenue Press. Oh, that's right, because I have never heard of Forest Avenue Press either. This is another press that comes from Portland, Oregon. They have such a good literary scene in Portland, Oregon. I know I talk about this often because I go to the Portland Book Festival, but man, their literary scene is off the charts. So this one is a novel in 52 vignettes, one for each weekend a divorced dad spends with his tween daughter at the edge of a fragile wilderness in Western Oregon. That's kind of the short blurb at the top, and that's all I need. It does actually sound interesting, so I'm really grateful that the one that I got sounds interesting enough for me to try and pick up and read. So at some point I will get to Trust Me, and again, excited to try out a new publisher. The other ARC I got at a different bookstore was Your Utopia by Bora Chung, translated by Anton Her. This one is published by Algonquin Books, and I did read Bora Chung's previous short story collection that was translated into English, Cursed Bunny, and really enjoyed it. I have the Hanford Star published version of that, which is the UK version, and I'm not sure who publishes the UK version of this one, but here in the US it's Algonquin. I'm excited for this. I liked Cursed Bunny a lot. It wasn't one of my favorite short story collections ever, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and still can remember a good amount of that collection, which I think is impressive. It says, these chilling new stories will crawl deep under your skin and change the way you see the most mundane objects and everyday interactions. I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more of the same, which I am here for. So happy that they actually had a book on the cart. This one you could see the books that I was interested in reading. And this is why I love the free ARCs, because I wouldn't have bought Your Utopia. I just haven't seen enough reviews for it. But I am very happy to read it if I get it for free, because I was planning to get it from the library anyway. So this worked out perfectly for me. So that is Your Utopia. Then we have a pre-order that came in March, and that is Mending Bodies by Lai-chu. This is translated by Jacqueline Leung and published by Two Lines Press. Again, one of my most anticipated releases for this year. This one I really wanted to read because the premise sounds so intriguing. There's a ton of dystopian fiction coming out right now, and so much of it sounds very fascinating. This one is about failing city where there's a new government program that incentivizes couples into conjoining, so surgically attaching themselves to one another, and that is fascinating as a premise. And I know it's going to have body horror, obviously. It says it's a political allegory to explore a world where even the motives of those you love most are shaped by larger forces. Ugh, sounds so good. I can't wait to get to this one, and hopefully I'll get to it soon. Also, the spacing on this text is lovely. I love larger font and good line spacing, so can't wait. And this author, I think, is actually about to be in Seattle in a day or two. I'm not going to be able to go to the talk, but yeah, very cool that she's coming, and wish I could go. If they show it online later, I will watch it. So that is Mending Bodies. Then from my little free library, we got My Brilliant Friend, and this one obviously very famous, by Elena Ferrante, translated, let's see by whom, translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein, also published by Europa Editions. The first in a quartet of books following a very complex friendship between our narrator and her best friend when she was younger, who I think at the very beginning of the first book has disappeared, and we're getting her recounting of their life together. I've wanted to read this for such a long time, but when I saw it in a little free library, I was like, come on, I'm gonna get it for free. I might as well finally pick it up and try and start my journey with this. I've heard some people describe this as like an Italian telenovela, and that doesn't necessarily sound like it would be for me, but so many people have loved this. It's such an iconic book and series at this point, so I'm excited to at least try it. And again, if I can try it for free, even better. So that is My Brilliant Friend. And then we're getting into the May books. We're finally to May. I'm almost through them all. We still have a handful left. So we have 3 books that I picked up after Independent Bookstore Day. Seattle does a passport program for Independent Bookstore Day, and if you go to at least 5 independent bookstores and get it stamped, then you can turn that passport in to get a coupon for 25% off at any one of the stores. Amazing deal. So of course I went to 5 on Independent Bookstore Day, and I needed to go back into one of the stores to exchange my passport for the physical coupon that you have to get. So I went back in, and of course I was like, well, I'm not going to go back in and just exchange to get the coupon. I'll buy some books from the place that I'm at. So I got 3 books there, and the first one is Astonishing the Gods by Ben Okri. This is published by Other Press. I really picked this up just because I just read Madame Sosostris and the Festival for the Brokenhearted by Ben Okri. It's a really long title, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was so magical. It did surrealism in exactly the way that I like surrealism to be, and I wanted to pick up something else from him. So I grabbed this one because it's one of the ones that they had. They only had a couple. This also has some surrealist elements, if I'm remembering correctly. It says, a young man finds himself among invisible beings who have built a world based on one principle, that we must repeat every experience until we live it fully for the first time. That's right. This sounds so good. This really reminds me of, what is that movie? About Time. Oh my god, that took me so long to look up. About Time. It reminds me of About Time, when he like relives every day twice to really thoroughly enjoy it. I love the concept of it, so I think I will like this because I know I like his writing. So picked that one up. Then we also picked up Heartbroke by Chelsea Beaker. This is published by Catapult. This was her first book to ever get published. It's a short story collection. She's no longer published by Catapult, at least Madwoman wasn't, but her first 2 books were with them. This short story collection takes place in California, which I think is where she centers all of her stuff. She is from California herself. And this one says we're following characters that boil with reckless desire. So some of the one-liners it gives for the stories are, a woman steals a baby from a shelter in an attempt to recoup her own lost motherhood. A phone sex operator sees divine opportunity when a lavender-eyed cowboy walks into her life, and a mother and son selling dream catchers along a highway that leads to a toxic beach manifest two young documentary filmmakers into their realm. Okay, yeah, bizarre, but I'm very intrigued. Again, I loved Mad Woman, so I wanted to read something else by her. There's definitely a theme in here of a lot of the books I've bought recently of buying authors that I've read from before who I've really enjoyed. That's fun for me. I read so many new authors. It's much less common for me to read from an author that I've read from before, but this year there's just something in the water for me of wanting to revisit a lot of authors that I have loved. I'm still reading majority new authors. That will never change, but I have a feeling it's going to be closer to like half and half this year than it's ever been before. So that is Heartbroke. And then last book I picked up at that same time was Sift. This is a book that I have almost bought so many times, and like really almost bought, like had it in my hand, but this paperback book, which is very slim, is really expensive. It's really expensive, and that was the thing that was deterring me. But I finally picked it up. I felt like with everything happening right now, this is a place where I really feel like I do want to spend my money for independent publishers. So I did just that. So again, this is Sift by Alyssa Hatman. This is published by The Third Thing, and the cover is very intricate. It's also a very wide set book. We're following two women who set out through the haze of social and environmental collapse in search of fertile soil, hence the name. As they travel through deserts, burned over forests, and lightless mountain caverns, they learn to navigate the terrain of their ever-evolving connection. An invocation, an elegy, a postcard home, Sift is a story about family wounds, humanity's failures, how to take care of one another at the end, and how to make a new beginning. Ugh, that sounds so good. It's such a good blurb. I'm reminded all over again why each time I desperately wanted to pick it up. But yeah, I will say this is $24 for this tiny paperback, so I know that's a lot. This is also not available at my library in any form. It's not available physically as an ebook or as an audiobook, so I needed to purchase it if I wanted to read it. And again, independent publishers is a place where I'm happy to throw my discretionary spending money, so I picked up Sift. I'm happy that I have it, and will hopefully pick it up in the next coming months. We are so close to done, people. We are so close to done, I promise you. Lastly, in May, for Mother's Day, I was out of town with my husband, and we were in a place that we go to every year for his birthday. His birthday's right around Mother's Day, and we always stop by this bookstore that is there. If you're in Bellingham, it is Village Books in Fairhaven. Love it. It's an amazing bookstore, and I picked up one book there, but I got multiple free books, which is amazing. So the book that I picked up is The Axeman's Carnival. This is by Catherine Chidgey and published by Europa. I got a lot of Europa books. I still have not read Pet. It's on my shelves. It's one of the books I want to read most from my shelves. I will get to it soon, but have not read it yet. This one I think is about an abusive relationship from the perspective of a crow or a magpie. So intriguing. That is The Axeman's Carnival. And then I got 3 books, 3 arcs from them that they told me I could grab. So very exciting. And again, with the free arcs, I'm more likely to take a chance on something that I wouldn't actually purchase, which is definitely what I did here. So I'm going to go over them in order of excitement. The one that I was most excited to see was The Pretender. This is by Jo Harkin, and it's published by Knopf. I was really intrigued about because, is it Brett from Brett's Bookish Corner, or Brett's Book Corner? Bookshelf? Brett's Bookshelf. He said that if you like the show The Great, which I love that show, that you would really like this book. So I don't normally pick up a lot of historical fiction, although this year I have been picking up a good amount. But anything that's getting comped to The Great, I want to read. So I picked up The Pretender for that reason. Again, I was going to pick it up from the library, but if I get it for free, I'll get it for free. The next one that I'm excited about is Open Heaven by Sean Hewitt. This one's published by Knopf as well. This one has been all a buzz lately. Lots of people have been reading it. And I think this is a queer love story. Although it's not a romance by any means. It's not going to follow the traditional romance structure. It's a literary fiction, but it's, I think, two young boys in a northern village, and we're following their relationship. I really want to read All Down Darkness Wide by this author, which is his nonfiction, but I have not gotten to it yet. So very excited to see this and pick it up. And then the one that I'm most iffy about, but I got it again because it was free, is A Gorgeous Excitement by Cynthia Weiner. This one is published by Crown Publishing, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. And ooh, there's so much dog hair on it. And this one is crime fiction. So I think it's taking place in the 80s. We're following a group of friends at the same time that there is a serial killer on the loose in the area. This is one where I'm gonna make an attempt and see, but it's the one that I'm most iffy about of I don't know if this is gonna be for me. I don't read a lot of serial killer things. I don't really love true crime, even though I know this is fiction. So we're gonna take a chance and see if this could work for me. But yeah, that is the last book that I have in this book haul. Whew, we made it. There was a lot to go over. Hopefully there were some things that I got to put on your radar. If you're interested about any of these books, please let me know. And if you've read any of these books, even better, let me know what you thought about them in the comments down below. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.